319, 399, hot, blue 58, blue 58.
Welcome to the Morning Blitz with John Abraham, Captain Cool, and the Bandiman Bailey Lowery. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Captain Cool.
Hello and welcome in to a fun Friday here in No Man's Land. John Abraham, Captain Cool, alongside the Bandiman Bailey Lowery.
Hey.
And welcome in to another fun edition of the Morning Blitz. We got a lot of good stuff to get into, but get your calendars out real quick and write down on June 17th, the Rocket City Awards going down here in Huntsville. And you can also hit us up at 97.7 WZZN events at gmail.com to get some tickets, get in on the action, and have some fun with us on June 17th. So, yep, mark those calendars. I'm going to put it on my hand real quick. All right, there's nothing there. I was just joking the whole time. But we got a lot of stuff to hop into, and why not just jump right into it with Drew DeArmond from Talkin' Ball, presented by Mercury Motors and Alumni Hall. Drew, we got to see a little bit of Alabama softball yesterday. It kind of went a little bit of what we wanted to see, and then it kind of fell off. Kind of just talk about this matchup against UCLA and how they're going to be able to rebound against the Duke tonight.
Well, Duke had the unfortunate task of running into Oklahoma, which they lost in 6 innings, 9-1. It's Duke's first appearance in Oklahoma City. Their program is really in its infancy, only a few years old, but have certainly done well. UCLA, a powerhouse, the 6th national seed. Alabama got down in the 3rd inning 1-0 as UCLA was able to score. Decently early in the game. They got a base hit to knock in a run in the bottom of the 3rd. But Alabama answered in the 5th inning. They got the bases loaded with 2 strikes. Kenley Cahalan got a base hit. Unfortunately for Alabama, they had to Callie Heveland got thrown out at the plate. Patrick Murphy sent her home on the line drive, hit right at the right at the outfielder. But like he said afterward, he felt like he had to do that. Some were thinking he should have just held the runner and allowed another hitter to come up with the bases loaded. But he said he just felt like they had to go for the lead, had to put the pressure on the defense, and you can understand that because if it's a bad throw from right field, so then the Alabama might have scored 2 to 3 runs because a bad throw probably leads to at least 2. Gets another hitter up there. You never know. But credit to UCLA. They certainly threw out Heveland at home plate. And then Alabama had an opportunity in the 6th inning, got a couple runners on, couldn't get the big hit. And then in the bottom of the 6th, Lowery, 2 on, 2 out, and it comes down to a big swing and a 3-run homer for UCLA, and they made it stand up 4-1.
Yeah.
Tough loss for Kayla Beaver. She really competed, but in high-level softball, like Patrick Murphy said, it comes down to really 3 things. You got to pitch well, you got to play good defense, and I thought Alabama did both of those really well. But then it comes down to who gets the big hit with runners on. Was it going to be UCLA or Alabama? The Bruins, those ladies got the big hit. They won the game 4-1, and now Alabama's got to play tonight at 6 in an elimination game against Duke. But he said, as he said after the game, they're going to fight like hell. They've been here before and had to dig their way out of the losers bracket. It's not ideal by any stretch. It'll be interesting. I would expect Jocelyn Brisky to be in the circle, but we'll see against Duke. And Alabama's going to give it their best shot. The Blue Devils, they're kind of smarting from that 9-1 loss. And I've been there watching it. When you get there for the first time, a lot of that's nerves and having to settle down and get used to the environment and what a great venue it is in Oklahoma City. But again, hopefully Alabama can settle down and bounce back and get a win and get back and start digging their way out of the losers bracket. But it was interesting. Really, honestly, all the favorites won yesterday. And the Florida-Oklahoma State game's the same deal. It came down to one swing, 1-0 solo homer. We talked about it on Talking Ball. That's how the Gators were able to advance over Oklahoma State. So the Gators stay in the winners bracket. Texas beats Stanford 4-0. Oklahoma beats Duke 9-1. Now, if I was an a-hole, I could point out that all these teams are going to be in the SEC that won, and that would mean basically the entirety of the winners bracket, except for UCLA from what's going to be the future Big Ten. There'd be 3 SEC teams still in the winners bracket. But again, that won't be until officially next year. But like we said, it basically stuck to script. UCLA was the favorite coming in. Alabama pushed them, wasn't able to get the job done. So those young ladies are going to try to fight and beat a good Duke team tonight. And stay alive in this tournament.
Yeah, and I honestly like that a-hole statement because, again, it kind of puts things into perspective. We've talked about it plenty of times, but the SEC is really gaining powerhouses, not just in the college football scene, as you see, of course, Oklahoma and Texas coming in, Steve Sarkisian and Dylan Gabriel and this Oklahoma team going to look a little bit better than last year, I would say. But in the softball scene, it is almost, ridiculous to see almost every single squad that is moving on going to be a part of the SEC going into next season.
It is. They would have had all 15 in if Oklahoma and Texas were there, and they would have had the top 2 national seeds because the top 2 national seeds were Oklahoma and Texas. So, but I'll just say this too: if Alabama can find a way to win today, they won't play until Sunday. They will get a day off on Saturday for winners bracket games. So we will see.
Yeah, and UCLA for them, they had to use 2 of their pitchers. So they used Caitlin Terry, they used Taylor Tinsley. That's something that Alabama
They
did.
used their top 2.
Yeah, and they didn't have to do that on the Alabama side. Of course, they used one of their top pitchers, which is Kayla Beaver, she's an absolutely insane player when it comes down to it. But for Alabama, their offense was churning the way it needed to. They had 6 hits on the
they
day.
out-hit UCLA 6-4. But they just didn't get the
Exactly.
big hit. They got 1 hit with runners on. They didn't get an extra base hit, a double or a triple home run with runners on that you need to score, to put a crooked number up.
Yeah.
They never put a crooked number up. They never put the pressure on UCLA to get ahead of them. And because they did that against Tennessee, and we saw what happened. There was some gagging going on.
I didn't know if that was like the sound of the radio that we had or
Well, no, I can't spell 29 words in a minute and a half. I don't know if any of you guys can. We replayed that on Talking Ball. That was freaking insane.
I mean, you can give me words I know. I wouldn't be able to spell in a minute and a half.
Oh, geez. They never would have let me get in the spelling bee. I'm going to be honest with you guys.
Give me like 3-letter words. I still wouldn't make it happen.
Drudy Arvin from Talking Ball is our guest. And looking forward to a little bit of the men's action. Of course, Alabama baseball is starting their tournament play tonight.
Yeah.
And they'll be facing off against Central Florida. And Drew, final opinions going into this game. How do you think Alabama's going to play? Who do you think is going to be on the mound? And, what's really the setting going into this one? What do you want to really
first,
tell this team?
Alabama hopefully was able to take advantage of a break.
Yeah.
They certainly lost to South Carolina on Drop Dead Tuesday. Win or go home.
Yeah.
They went home. They've been home for a week and a half until they flew out to Tallahassee the other day to get ready for this. It's a tough regional. UCF is even a little different. They've always been pretty good, but they're a little bit different now. Instead of being in the American Athletic Conference or Conference USA or somewhere like that, they are in the Big 12. So they have faced some good competition. They pitch very well. They've got 5 guys with ERAs under 4, which is good and really good in college baseball. The strength of their team is their pitching. So we'll see what happens. But Alabama's a good offensive ball club. Hopefully, they've seen plenty of power arms in the SEC. My theory is maybe getting away from the SEC competition will do them good. And this rest is hopefully going to allow Bryce Eblin to be healthy. Bryce Eblin is kind of a key because they have struggled a little bit defensively, especially in the infield at times and at second base. But if Bryce is at second base, he's a really good glove. And he was swinging the bat good early in the season, but it pulled a hamstring and missed several weeks, guys. And sometimes hamstrings can be really tricky as far as just think about Sean Murphy with the Braves. He swung at a pitch and on opening day and messed his oblique up. Was out 50 games.
Yeah.
So it can be very delicate. So I think they're going to have Eblin back in the lineup at second base, and he's an older guy, a senior. He's been through the fire. You're going to have Justin LeBron, your freshman All-American shortstop. You're going to have Gage Miller. And Gage, Roger Hoover pointed something out too. Remember, late in the season, the last few weeks, they had that weekend at Mississippi State with all the food poisoning. It took them several weeks to get over it and to get everybody back and right. So right now you're 0-0, man. It don't mean a damn thing what everybody's record is. You just need to come out and play clean, not make mistakes defensively, and then swing the bats. You know what I'm saying? And then Alabama, once again, they need to get off to a good start, in my opinion. And they need it. It sounds like Greg Ferrone will get the start. He's been the Friday night guy for the majority of the season, left-hander. To me, you need 5 or 6 innings out of him to keep the game very competitive, hopefully even have a lead, and then go to your bullpen, your high-leverage guys, but maybe only have to go to 1 or 2 out of the pen if you can get through the first game, because it sounds like Roger told us the buzz – was it Jamie Arnold, the ace for Florida State, was not going to pitch against Stetson, even though Stetson has given them 2 really good games. So you would potentially, if Florida State won and you win, you might have to face him in game 2. But what if, and I've seen this blow up people's face, what if Stetson upsets them? And then you would have, sounds like Ben Hess will take the ball in game 2 for Alabama. He has not thrown since the weekend against Auburn, okay? And down the stretch, he threw the ball much better. If his curveball has the bite that it's had, he throws the ball in the high 90s. If he throws like he's capable, he can give you every chance in the world to beat a Florida State or a Stetson in game 2. But in these 4-game regionals, guys, it is imperative to stay in the winner's bracket. Because if you lose that first game, then it's all hands on deck for every game going forward. It's win this game, even if we have to throw 7 people. We have to win somehow to survive. But, if you can keep your pitching on schedule and win that first game and have a Ben Hess to face a Florida State or a Stetson, that gives you a much better chance to get to Sunday. And if you get to Sunday 2-0, you're just waiting on everybody else to beat up on each other and hopefully burn a lot of their pitching before you ever see them. And you just sit there and have Zane Adams, who's had a really good freshman year, just waiting, for that opponent to be named, and you give yourself a great chance to win. But before you do all that, though, you got to win game 1. And to me, it's Greg Ferrone getting through 5 or 6 innings, your bullpen performing better than it did against South Carolina, and then swinging the bat well, because this is an offensive team. Alabama's a good offensive team, and it's going to be kind of a battle of strengths. UCF's got really good pitching. Alabama's a good offensive ball club. I'm going to be interested to see how they attack UCF, because UCF got hot late. They were one of the last 4 teams in, guys. They were still nervous, because they didn't win the Big 12 tournament, so they were kind of on eggshells, like, are we in or are we out? Yeah. And they're making the trip as well to Tallahassee.
And it's going to be a really exciting night for baseball, especially for the Alabama faithful. Real quick, Drew, a school that we know and love here in the state is actually being just disappearing after today, I would say. But
Birmingham Southern.
It's not going to be left without, a fight, because, of course, the baseball team is actually doing some big stuff. Real quick, just talk about that Birmingham Southern team. And when you brought up the whole food poisoning thing, that's a thing that happened to this squad as well earlier in the season.
Yeah. Well, Birmingham Southern is a remarkable story. Today is the final day that the school will be open, and it will be closing. Birmingham Southern is to take the field in the Division III World Series. They had a GoFundMe campaign where they raised $100,000 for their trip to the College World Series. Now, don't misunderstand. The NCAA is paying a lot of the travel costs and the hotels, but these guys are going to get rings no matter what. I mean, they won a regional, they won a super regional, they've done remarkable things. Now, if they win this tournament, what a story! I mean, this is a movie.
Yeah, that'd be a 30 for 30.
At least
see that. Yeah,
I mean, I can already get Kevin Costner on the phone, dude.
I mean, and there's even thought. I even saw a headline at AL.com: "Can Birmingham Southern be saved?" And that's the school itself. Yeah. Doesn't sound that way, but I mean, what a remarkable story by that coaching staff and those young men to overcome adversity. They were not favored. To advance out of regional play or super regional play. They were the underdog, but they've gotten hot at the right time. And that's what it takes. That's what it would take for Alabama to make a run. I mean, even Alabama softball, they're in the College World Series because they got hot at the right time. They were favored in their regional, but they certainly were a significant underdog at Tennessee. So, but Birmingham Southern, they've all kind of banded together since this announcement, several weeks ago that this university, this great university that meant so much to so many and has had so many people from our communities compete athletically and academically at Birmingham Southern. It's very, very sad that potentially this university is going to close, but it's a great way to represent the school and to go out for Birmingham Southern baseball to be making a run at a national championship. It's really remarkable.
It really is, and extremely inspiring, I would say. But we got to hop into a break. Good stuff from Drew DeArmond. You can catch him over on Talking Ball 7 to 9 weekdays. When we come back, get into a little bit of the fun stuff. Of course, I got a little bit of an idea, a little giveaway idea that we're going to run with throughout the rest of the episode. Drew,
make them spell a word.
I'll make. Yeah, that's what they'll do. They'll hop on and they'll spell
ALABAMA.
All right, you can get out of here. Have a great weekend. We'll be right back.
I really wish I had a ding sounder.
Here on the Morning Blitz on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandiman. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
It has happened. 171.294 miles an hour.
You wake up late for school, man, you don't want to go. You ask your mom, please, but she still says no. You missed 2 classes and no homework. But your teacher preaches class like you're some kind of jerk.
Just it was one of those two. 2011 maybe. I don't exactly know. Bandy, you're the
It was 2011.
You're the statistician.
Yeah.
I remember things kind of pretty good when it comes down to that stuff. I can tell you when certain video games came out, like NASCAR 2011. It came out in 2011, and I know these things. But now we get the Celtics versus the Mavericks, and it really is going to be fun. I don't think it's going to be as one-sided as Bandy might think, but that's me.
Dallas in 5.
Dallas in 5. Is that what you were officially going
That's
with?
what I'm going with. Dallas in 5 because I really don't see how the Celtics match up.
gonna be
They have
cool.
gotten one of the easiest paths to the finals I've ever seen, and going up against 2 injured teams and a Cavaliers team led by Donovan Mitchell, which is inconsistent at best.
Yeah.
They've kind of really had the easiest path I've ever seen in the finals.
Well, what I think is going to happen, and Bandy, I'm hearing a little bit of something in my ear.
That's syndicated. I can't control that.
Crazy
But
stuff.
but what we got, and then you got them pretty much cruising to the finals, and you got Dallas who have really fought tooth and nail to get to where they are. In this finals, going up against really good teams. I mean, had to take down the Clippers with Paul George and James Harden, and Kawhi Leonard. And for one, they didn't exactly just kind of roll over either in that first round. I mean, like James Harden and Paul George kind of showed
they showed a
some
run.
They showed some glimpses of who they used to be.
Yeah, exactly. And then going up against OKC,
Yeah, the number 1 seed in the West.
we didn't even get to OKC. OKC was absolutely insane. They had was it, a 3-1 lead on them at one point? I mean, I just know it was a ridiculous comeback victory for the Mavericks to be able to just take the rest of that game.
It went into it 2-2, and then
Okay.
they closed out the last 2 to get into
All right.
the Western Conference Finals. And then you got to play up against the white-hot Timberwolves, who, again, they've got nowhere to go but up. They got. And I love Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert being on that squad, like giving them the chance to win a ring, and just being a foundational rock for that squad, and just kind of letting Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns, just kind of letting them take over.
I totally agree.
And it worked for most of the playoffs until they ran into Dallas, who really kind of gave them a matchup problem. They had to go small against Dallas, and Minnesota really isn't a team that can go small for very long.
Yeah. I agree. And Minnesota, we talked highly about this team earlier on during the playoffs, which teams we were kind of figuring out who was going to be able to try and make that run to the final. And now we finally have this stage. It is set, and it will be right around the corner. Both these teams, the Celtics, of course, they had a 10-day break. It didn't take the Mavs that much longer to kind of get there with them, and now there's going to be a little bit of rest for both sides before going into the final match.
Which I think is baloney.
Yeah.
Like, why do we have to wait almost a week
Yeah.
for the finals?
I was thinking the same thing.
It's going to be next Thursday. Why can't we just have it on Monday?
I was like, just, now that both of the teams have won, let's kind of scoot up the schedule a little bit. Instead, got to wait until June 6th, which, of course, it's the final day of the month, Bandy. This year is flying by.
It is flying by. We're about to get back into football season, dude.
No, I can taste it. And what helps, with the taste is a little bit of a college football game that's going to be coming out, and we're also going to be getting some gameplay. Dude, we've been getting so much of those little leaks and teasers and stuff like that.
Just tidbits.
I am so excited, but I have one concern. And it's not even a concern. It's just one gripe with the way that EA makes their football games. Every single player has defensive lineman shoulder pads on, all right? When you get a little screenshot of Carson Beck, he's pointing over there. Why are his pads as big as his forearms? Because, some of these pads are not like that in college football, all right? They're a little bit flatter. He's a quarterback. He's got to be able to throw the ball. If he had defensive lineman, shoulder pads on, the man's going to throw the ball 20 yards, and it's going to, not go anywhere.
I pulled the Twitter feedback up, and that's the first thing I see.
I'm glad,
Like
man.
Carson Beck, yeah.
I'm glad. Those pads are huge.
They are huge. Oh, my God. Like, that. They come up on here. Like, they're not folded like that. We've watched college football. They're not folded like that on a quarterback.
Yeah. There's a picture that's 1-to-1 of Travis Hunter stretching out to catch a ball. It's similar whenever I draw a picture of a football player. You get some of the proportions right, but kind of just going off of drawing it and then looking back, and then you kind of look at it and you're like, why are his legs that big?
How did I mess this up so
his,
badly?
His body is extremely wide. And I don't know if I understand, the anatomy of a human body and how football pads look under them. I feel like EA's got the power to do something better, but it's whatever.
Now what was it? God, I'm trying to remember the player's name, but they're like, hey,
The Texas dude.
Yeah, so I'm not that big.
Yeah, he was a bowling ball in that that image that they have on the trailer, of course. Bandy, when we come back, I want to implement something. Okay, we haven't had a giveaway in a minute. I want to implement a guess the NFL player for a chance to win a zone deal over at Flow Supreme Air, of course, the best trampoline park in North Alabama, maybe even in the state. Okay. I'm going to give you guys a few hints, and I'm going to add on to those hints. If you call in 256-576-4 and get the player correct, you will get the Flow giveaway, all right? Here is your first hint. He went to Arizona State, and he was drafted to the Baltimore Ravens. Coming up next, we're going to hop into a little bit more of the fun, a little bit of Tennessee's upcoming football schedule in the SEC. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to The Morning Blitz here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, The Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandiman. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
It has happened. 171.294 miles an hour.
You wake up late for school, man, you don't wanna go. You ask your mom, please, but she still says no. You missed 2 classes and no homework. But your teacher preaches class like you're some kind of jerk. You gotta fight for your right to party.
Friendly entrees on Monday starting at 5. Bingo every Monday night too starting at 7. Coralejos Mexican Grill, 1658 Old Monrovia Road in Huntsville. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to stay updated on their specials.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the mid-80s. Maybe an isolated shower across the Tennessee Valley. Most of us are going to be dry. Better opportunities for rain as we head into the overnight, and then especially through Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are going to be in the forecast all day Saturday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
College football.
The ball is caught. It is a touchdown.
Major League Baseball.
That ball is gone. A home run.
This is your place for complete sports coverage all year long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Out in fear. The nights we opened up and we knew how much that you and I were real. Gotta climb up this hill. I'm tired and I wanna be.
Is there a recording label? Are they going to copyright us for that song? Oh, Darren Waller, New York Giants tight end. Golly, I gotta admit, man, the production on that, with the fake Kelsey Plum, the video, I was emotional. I don't know about you, Bandy. Like, people are getting, they're getting cringy about it.
It was pretty cringy.
No, come on.
If
If you have the money to make a sad song, okay, and you can produce it the way he produced it with all of that auto-tune, it was probably $1 million in auto-tune. That was probably his whole check. Then why not? Go for it. He can win her back.
We gotta climb over that hill.
Oh, we can go down the dirt road together, act like nothing happened. I feel so bad for him, dude.
I didn't even know they were married. I didn't even know Kelsey Plum was married.
No, I mean, I gotta admit, man, people might think it's cringy. I think it's romantic. I feel so bad for the dude. I mean, he's going through it. You can tell from the emotion. If you take off the auto-tune, okay, you got to take off the auto-tune, but still, it's sad.
It's a fake Kelsey Plum for me in the video.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I wonder who he's able to get to actually act as Kelsey Plum, whatever you want to pronounce her name as. Anyway, welcome back into the Morning Blitz. Having a lot of fun on this Friday edition. You're in no man's land, of course. John Abraham, Captain Cool, alongside the Bandiman, Bailey Lowery. Before we get on with a little bit of the Tennessee Volunteers' upcoming schedule, I'd like to remind you guys that this show is presented by the wonderful people over at Fleming Roofing and Restoration, the guys you need to talk to about all of your roofing needs. If you're having any roofing problems, make sure you look them up online at FlemingHSV.com to fill out your free quote today. And remember that Fleming always shows up. And the sooner you get them on board, if you got like a little leak coming on in your house, the better, because we're going to have a lot of rain in this upcoming weekend going into next week, and it's not going to let up until probably like Friday. So definitely get them over to your house, get them fixing up that roof, and make sure you guys can be safe and secure with that roof atop your head. Now, we're also playing a little bit of a game. If you guess the NFL player, we will get you guys into Flow Supreme Air Trampoline Park, of course, here in Huntsville. And I gave you guys some hints, all right? And you're able to call in 256-5764.
977
is the number to get in. Arizona State was his college. He gets drafted by the Ravens. He plays a majority of his career with the Ravens. That's all I'll give you for now. At the end of this segment, I'll give you the rest of it. I want to look at this Tennessee Volunteers schedule going into 2024, though, okay? They've got a decent schedule. I would say it kind of favors them with their first season with Nico Iamaleava. On top of that, they're bringing back some pretty big talent, all right? If you guys remember, there's a wide receiver coming back, and his name is Squirrel, and his last name is White. And he was a pretty good player for this squad, a good little addition for the Tennessee Volunteers. And he had 800-plus yards last season. He's a little bit small, but he's one of those speedy wide receivers, kind of like a squirrel for this Tennessee team. And he's one that you can really chuck it deep to, like a Tyreek Hill over in the NFL or Rashee Rice. Oh, geez, just thinking of him right now. I hope he's doing well. But on top of just, getting Squirrel White back, you also get a wide receiver that has the size of an NFL player in the form of Brew McCoy. Now, he did get injured last season, so his productivity was definitely not up to snuff. But back in 2022, he did have 600-plus yards, and he was putting up some pretty good numbers. I think this is a huge addition, and it reminds me of Cedric Tillman before he got overshadowed by, Jalen Hyatt the year after. So getting another guy like Brew McCoy in there is going to be huge. All right, I think it's going to be great. Running back core, it's a little bit lighter than what it was. You do bring back Dylan Sampson, who was the third head to that running back room. You don't get Jabari Small. You don't get Jalen Wright. But you see some of Dylan Sampson's stats on last season. He was able to put up 100-plus yards in multiple games against iffy competition. But at the same time, he has that ability. He's going to be able to be really good for this Tennessee Volunteers team. And if you hand him the ball like a first string should get around 200 times, he might be breaking the 1,000-yard mark. I could definitely see that happening this upcoming season. Now, you also have the offensive line. Of course, Cooper Mays. He's going to be huge because of the experience that he's going to be bringing back. He didn't give up sacks on 463 snaps last year. So you're bringing back a guy that is definitely going to be a first-round pick moving forward into the 2025 draft. And then also you bring in a guy from LSU in the form of, where's this guy at? I thought I had him down. I guess I don't have him down here. I have the Tennessee roster, so it's totally fine. In Lance Hurd, a guy from LSU who is a little bit younger. He's another sophomore, but he transfers over. And, of course, he played quite a bit for this LSU squad last season. And he was, of course, helping out with Jaden Daniels and that Heisman run that he was able to go and get. Now, looking at the schedule, they face off against Chattanooga to start things out. Of course, it's either going to be Chattanooga or Austin Peay that they're going to be playing in those first few games. Throw in Tennessee Tech every once in a while, and you're going to get an easy win against a team that is in state. They're going to get a win against Chattanooga. Then they play NC State. It's going to be another win against an ACC team. But when you look at the actual team, you're thinking to yourself, NC State, you might be a Power 4 school.
But are you a Power 4 school?
But you're not, you're like a Syracuse, where it's like if you play against real competition, you're not going to find too much victory. I get it. NC State can be good at times, all right? They're kind of like a Wisconsin. They're hit or miss. But I don't think they're going to be that big of a challenge for the Volunteers. I think they're going to be able to run away with that. And then you play Kent State. That's a win.
That's a win.
Then you go to Oklahoma to start off the SEC play.
Now we're getting a little spicy.
Now we're getting spicy because they're going to lose this first game to Oklahoma and Dylan Gabriel. Oh, wait, no, he's gone. I forgot. He's at Oregon.
Yep, he's done. He's gone.
But I still see.
That's going to be the trend in college football. It's like, man, I can't wait to see this guy start. It's like, he transferred.
Yeah, that's definitely. Like, Caden Proctor, I can't wait then for him to play for my Iowa Hawkeyes.
He returned.
Yeah, he returned to Alabama, so you don't have to worry about him. Then they play up against Arkansas. I think they're going to win that matchup. They're playing against Florida. This one is going to be at Neyland Stadium. They're going to be able to beat Florida. I know last year they lost.
I think that'll be close, though. That'll be a close win.
Well, we'll see about that. We'll see what Graham Mertz has got in his arsenal. He might be getting better than we actually thought. But it's going to be in Neyland Stadium, and if you play at Neyland Stadium, it's almost a for sure loss, unless you are the next team, which is going to be Alabama. And I know, Tennessee fans, I know.
4 home games in a row.
And I know the Alabama fans remember this too. I put down Alabama against Tennessee as a loss for Alabama, but I'm not doing that again, all right? Because who freaking knows who's going to win this game, all right? Because both of these guys are coming in with rosters and coaches that are just kind of, out of this world. We don't know what they're going to be able to bring to these teams. For Tennessee, it's more the players instead of the actual coaches. Mm-hmm. I think Alabama's going to be able to beat them. It's a 50-50 chance, all right? We'll just leave it at that. So nobody can get mad at me.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we got it down as a 50-50 chance, but we got until October 19th. No. So, we're going to see a lot of this Alabama team before then, and just with, all the tools that have been coming in, Caden Proctor returning, Kalen DeBoer's really good track record of Washington. Yeah. The way he develops players and especially quarterbacks and wide receivers.
Oh yeah.
I've got really high hopes for this team.
No doubt.
I got them at a really good spot.
This might be one of the only losses Tennessee takes at home, but they will be playing Kentucky the week after that. That's going to be on November the 2nd. Then Mississippi State. Both of those are going to be wins, all right? Kentucky, up and down every once in a while. They're good. They surprise teams. They're still not to the point where they could beat a Tennessee, an Alabama, or a Georgia, all right? Or an Ole Miss or Texas. I don't even think they could beat Oklahoma, if we're being honest.
How long ago was it? Because I hate that I'm blanking on the name, but who was the really good running back that came out of Kentucky? He was a first-round draft pick a couple years ago. But you know who I'm talking about, right?
I don't know, man.
Hold up.
I only knew one, and I already forgot his name. It was the Ray Davis, the guy from last season that did really well, but he didn't even get drafted round 1. Who are we talking about? Bandy?
Well, the AI gave me Ray Davis. Thank you, Google.
Yeah, I mean, I'm better than the AI then. I could give you that quicker.
Well, it was like 20.
You figure that
out. It was
out,
like
Bandy.
2018 something.
You figure that out because they're going to be going to Georgia and they're going to be losing to Georgia. That is a brick wall of a team that Tennessee just has yet to get past. It's a huge rivalry game. Anytime I bring up Georgia in my household, John gets pissed off because he's a huge Tennessee fan. But it's just not going to happen. He might get a win against Kentucky because, that's another rivalry game, I guess. But Georgia is not going to be you're not going to have a chance against that. UTEP is going to be a win. Vanderbilt's going to be a win.
Benny Snell.
Benny Snell?
Was it Benny Snell?
Maybe. Who did he play for?
I
vaguely remember him playing in the NFL. Vaguely.
Wait, plays for, he got drafted 2019, but plays for the Steelers.
Oh. Yeah, I don't remember him, and I don't like the Steelers, so. Oh.
That's why, but now that I said that name, that also didn't feel right.
Yeah, it didn't feel right. It didn't sound right. I feel like it would have clicked in my head too. It did not. How many yards did he put up in his time at Kentucky?
His time at Kentucky?
Yeah, you can figure that out too. Either way, they're over/under on the season for Tennessee is 8.5. I have them winning 9 games.
No, it was Benny Snell. I'm done.
9-3. Is he the guy with the? No, I'm thinking about a different guy. I'm thinking about Lindsey.
He put up 1,400 yards in his last season at Kentucky.
That's pretty good.
16 touchdowns, 17 receptions.
What do you know when he got drafted? Like what time? What place in the draft he got drafted? He was a first rounder. You said. Steelers?
Nah. I guess he wasn't a first rounder, but he did. He got picked up by the Steelers in the 4th round.
Okay, 4th round's pretty good for a running back in this day and age.
And now he's on the Lions.
Well, maybe Wolverine Dan knows something we don't about that.
He was released.
Oh.
Well, not even like 2 weeks later.
Well, that sucks, man.
Dang.
That really sucks.
Dang. But now the Arizona Cardinals are giving him a workout.
Well, the Arizona Cardinals give everybody a workout,
Just
man.
going to the history of Benny Snell today.
Well, now you know. Everybody knows a little bit more about Benny Snell. Thank you. That was one of those random NFL players you could throw into one of those tweets that you see pop up every once in a while.
But he's not the player that we're talking about for the giveaway.
He's not. No, he's definitely not that player, which we will give you guys the rest. The notable transfers coming in to Tennessee. Of course, I did talk about the offensive lineman from LSU, Lance Hurd. That's big. He's second highest rated offensive lineman in the transfer portal. And then also Chris Brezel, the second from Tulane. It's another one of those 600 to 700 yard wide receivers you're adding onto your squad. The wide receiver core is going to be great. All right, it's going to be great for Tennessee. It's the defense that has some concerns, especially in the backfield of the cornerbacks, the safeties. That's going to be a question because all of those guys either went to the NFL or transferred out of that school. They just wanted to get out of there and go somewhere else and get their bag. We got to hop into a break, though, Bandy, because we're going to be going over if I keep talking. I will give you one more hint before the final segment. 256-5764. 97.7 is the number to get into the show. So he went to Arizona State. He played for the Ravens. And he finished off his career in his last year playing for 2 separate teams, the Cardinals and the Chiefs. And he won a Super Bowl with said Chiefs. We got to hop into a break. When we come back, your guys' answer. And we're going to finish out the show with a little bit of Sagi talk, talking a little bit about the college football game. That's what I want to talk about. Here on the Morning Blitz on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandiman. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
171.294 miles an hour.
You wake up late for school, man, you don't wanna go. You ask your mom, please, but she still says no. You missed 2 classes and no homework. But your teacher preaches class like you're some kind of jerk. You gotta fight for your right to party.
It's 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10-plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
Final segment of the Morning Blitz here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. John Abraham, Captain Cool, alongside the Bandiman, Bailey Lowery.
Hey.
And we do have our participant to guess the NFL player that I've been just slowly teasing this entire time. Bandy, who do we got on the phone line?
Hey, we got Richard on the hotline. What'd you guess, Richard?
Just a good guess. And knowing who he was a good player. I'm going to guess Terrell Suggs.
You are correct. Bandy, do we have the ding? There it is. Yes, I didn't even know
There it
you
is.
had the ding. That's great. So I need to know, Richard, are the Ravens your favorite team, or like what gave it away to make you think that it was Terrell?
Oh, I remember him back in the day.
Yeah.
I remember he played for 2 teams his last year.
Yeah, no, he definitely played a majority of that career, though, with the Ravens. It's almost like it's going to be one of those things on Twitter you see, and I know I kind of made a joke about this, where it's like name a player on a random team in the future, and it'll show him just on the Chiefs. It's so random. But either way, you are the winner. We will get that set up for you so you can take the family out to Flow Supreme Air. So good stuff from you, Richard. We'll let you get back to your day, and we can't wait to hear from you again, man.
Keep listening.
All right.
Hey, thank you, brother. Hey, call right
Thanks
back.
a lot.
Call right back in though, like after we get off the line, and we'll get all your information down. No problem.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Okay, thanks.
Good stuff from Richard. He knew his stuff. And I wanted to go with a player that was definitely very notable. Of course, it's going to be Terrell Suggs, a guy that, he was a 7-time Pro Bowler. He won 2 Super Bowls. It's a big deal. It's a big-name guy. I'm going to throw some weird ones at you guys. On Fridays, all the way up until we get back into the underdog, game that we played all throughout the football season, this is the type of game where I'm going to throw at you guys, and everybody is going to have an opportunity to hop into the madness we got going down here on the Morning Blitz. Before we get out of here, I'd like to remind you again, we have the RCAs, the Rocket City Awards, coming up on June 17th. You guys will be able to get into that event, have a lot of fun getting to watch and celebrate a lot of these local athletes. All you got to do is email at 977WZZN events@gmail.com to try and get your tickets to that wonderful event. Very fun time last year, Bandy, and we're going to run it back yet again at Mars Music Hall. It's going to be wild.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Cannot wait. If you guys can't listen to the show and you'd rather watch the show, again, you can go on to the YouTubes. You can find us at WZZN TV. You can see me, the Bandiman, and the whole rest of the squad. Of course, you got Talking Ball with Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. You got the Tom Abraham Show with Tom Abraham, as well as the Grizz, a.k.a. Chad Guatney. And then on top of that, later on in the day, The Drive live from wherever they're going to be live from. They're still down in Florida. And, of course, we don't know if they're having a show today, Bandy. We have no idea. But that, of course, is with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. We got a lot of stuff coming up to get you set up for the weekend as well. Alabama going up against the UCF. That's going to start at 4:15. So make sure you guys tune in for that if you're on the road, if you're doing anything like that. We might still have some zone deals for Gunner's Landing. I highly doubt it. But that probably tells you every single Friday, sometimes on Thursdays, take a look at our zone deals at 8 o'clock. I'd say even before 8 o'clock because those things go very quick, very popular deals. And it does say that the drive is live from Woody Anderson Ford tonight, so we might get to see the drive. I think Steve's probably back now, so that's good. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. He'll probably text me here in a second. We'll see about that. Either way, Bandy, it's been a fun week. What we get to look forward to, college football gameplay trailer, whatever the heck they're going to throw at us.
4 minutes.
Is it?
It's dropping right after the show.
Is it? I thought it was dropping at 2.
At 10. We got 4 minutes.
Well, that's exactly what me and Bandy are going to do. This weekend, I'll probably, catch some awesome playoff, probably championship hockey, championship basketball. Psych. Got to wait until June 6th.
Yep.
Can't wait. Play a little bit of X-Defiant, Ubisoft's new first-person shooter. It's all right.
I'm going to be playing as my favorite character ever in a fighting game. So.
Yeah. Either way, Rage is on the forecast for us here on the Morning Blitz. We'll catch you guys later.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the